Since you clicked this video, I assume you are interested with the concept of absurd. So this weird situation we are all in as human beings. My name is Nikodem, I'm an academic philosopher, and in this video we'll explore two main concepts of absurdism alongside what I call epistemic absurdism. So the absurdity not just of life, but of our search for truth itself. It's about why our longing for certainty, for final answers, is structurally impossible, and why that might actually be a good thing. So let's firstly visit two thinkers who shaped the terrain, Albert Camus and Thomas Nagel. Then we'll see how their ideas lead us somewhere both unsettling and strangely liberating. Let's start with Camus. Albert Camus was a French-Algerian writer and philosopher who lived through World War II and died pretty young in a car accident in 1960. He is of course famous for The Stranger and The Myth of Sisyphus, the essay where he laid out his view of the absurd. Camus began with the most brutal question of all. Why shouldn't we just give up? If life has no inherent meaning, if the universe doesn't care, what's the point of living? For Camus, the absurd isn't an abstract theory. It's a lived experience. It's that sudden vertigo when you step back from your daily routine and think, wait, why does any of this matter? He describes the absurd as a collision. On one side, the universe, cold, silent and indifferent. On the other, us, creatures burning for meaning, craving order and demanding sense. The absurd is the clash, the gap between our hunger for clarity and the world's refusal to provide it. And here's the twist. Camus says we can't resolve it. We can't make the universe care. We can't inject meaning into a cosmos that doesn't have it. But we can revolt. We can live, create, love, and push forward anyway, fully aware of the futility. And that's exactly Sisyphus, condemned to push a boulder up a mountain forever, knowing it will always roll back down. And Camus famously says we must imagine him happy, not deluded, not pretending, but free. He knows the truth, expects nothing, and still keeps going. He lives fully in defiance of the absurd. Now let's jump forward to 1971, when Thomas Nagel wrote his essay The Absurd. Nagel read Camus, but he shifted the focus. He said the absurd isn't a conflict between us and the universe, but it's a conflict within us. And there is a subtle difference. We live our lives seriously. We work, care about others, pursue goals, dream and plan. But we can also step back and see all that from the outside. So-called third-person perspective. See ourselves as just another human animal doing human things on a small rock spinning in space. And from that distant view, everything we take seriously starts to look kind of ridiculous. But we can't stay detached. Even when we see the absurdity, we keep living, choosing and caring. We are trapped between two perspectives, deeply involved and utterly detached. And Nagel says that's the essence of the absurd. Here is his crucial insight. No possible world could ever satisfy our hunger for ultimate justification. Even if everything made sense, we could still step back and ask, but why accept that explanation? What justifies the justification? The absurd then isn't out there. It's built into the way we think, into the structure of our reason itself. And to take this further, let's borrow an idea from contemporary philosopher Markus Gabriel. The difference between the world and the universe. The universe, with a capital U, is everything that exists physically. Matter, energy, natural laws is what science studies. But the world, with a capital W, is larger. It includes the universe, but also meaning. So concepts, stories, values, ideas, and truths that only make sense in certain contexts. In the world, the statement Sherlock Holmes lives at 221B Baker Street is true in the field of fiction, but not in the universe, because Holmes isn't physically real. Gabriel calls these contexts fields of sense, and they exist purely in the world, as they are only human-perceived objects, beings. In math, for example, 1 equals 1. In literature, characters exist. In human life, love matters. But these fields don't align perfectly. And there is no single master field that can rank them. And perhaps you already see where it is going. This matters because everything we truly care about, like truth, morality, identity, meaning, lives in the world, not in the universe. They are conceptual, human-made, and contingent. And here's where it all comes together. Epistemic absurdism is the recognition that the very act of trying to justify our conceptual world, so the world, using the tools of the universe is absurd. And not absurd as in silly, absurd as in impossible, a category mistake. We want to prove that our beliefs, our reason, our sense of truth rest on solid ground, but our tools of proof are themselves products of those same beliefs. We are trying to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. Take math, for example. 1 equals 1. It's a true statement in mathematics. But can we justify math itself? Well, not from within math, because that's circular. And outside of math, it's just a language we created to describe patterns. It works, but is it true in any ultimate sense? Because it's true in one of the fields of senses, but not in all of them. Because, for example, we have different notions of truth. So we can't even state that such basic statement like 1 equals 1 is true in all fields of senses. And you may now think, but it's absurd. Yes, it is. We are using a human-made instrument, so reason, to justify reason itself. And it gets worse, actually. We have many instruments, many fields of sense, like science, religion, art, personal experience, and no neutral place to stand between them. Every argument comes from within a field. So when you ask, is God real? The question itself straddles mismatched worlds, because you can't measure God, because measurement belongs to physics, no theology. It's like trying to play chess with a pigeon. It's the wrong game entirely. The same goes for morality, for truth, and for meaning. They are not physical things to be discovered. They are conceptual structures we inhabit. And the deepest paradox of all, even nature as we know, it is conceptual. We can't access it as it is, only through our own frameworks. We can't even know that it's unknowable because that claim, too, uses the same conceptual tools. That's epistemic absurdism, the recognition that knowledge itself can never step outside of its own conditions. And if you wonder who is the author of this beautiful concept of epistemic absurdism, that's me. Yeah, I made it all up. Let's try to bring this closer to home. There's a famous quote, "Know yourself." The ancient Greek command, Socrates made it the cornerstone of wisdom. And even now, self-knowledge feels like the ultimate goal. But if epistemic absurdism is true, self-knowledge might be the most absurd project of all. To know yourself, you would have to step outside yourself, to make yourself into an object, but you can't. You're always inside your own experience, always changing. You're not a fixed thing, you're a process, like a flame constantly reshaped by the air around it. Psychology, reflection, philosophy, they help, but they are frameworks, not mirrors. They tell you something, but never everything. You can't know yourself completely because yourself is what's doing the knowing. Okay, so isn't that just skepticism with extra steps? Well, not quite. Skepticism says, we lack enough evidence, so let's withhold judgment. Epistemic absurdism says, the search for ultimate justification is structurally impossible. But the response isn't despair, it's revolt. I mean, if you choose to revolt, because you're a free being. Just like Camus' Sisyphus, we keep thinking, questioning, creating, knowing full well the ground will never be solid. And that's not even nihilism, it's a kind of freedom. To play the game knowing the rules are invented. To live inside our worlds of meaning while knowing they are contingent. And that's absurdism. Active, alive, and honest. I like to think about absurdism like taking a step back, but only to glance at our condition, so the relation between human and inherently unknowable reality, only to just come back to your default position of living in this world and acting as everything made sense. So what do we do with all this? We let go of the need for ultimate justification. We stop torturing ourselves with the demand for certainty. We accept that our truths are contextual, our meanings created, and our knowledge only provisional. And we live anyway. And it's not despair, it's release. When you stop expecting the universe to give you answers, you can finally just be. You can create meaning in your relationships, your work, your quiet moments of reflection, not because they are eternal and not because they make sense, but because they are yours. So take your life seriously, even it's absurd, but hold it lightly. Act with conviction, but without illusion. So I don't have a tidy conclusion for this video, or 5 steps to embrace the absurd. So the absurd isn't comfortable, let's face it. But I claim it's real. And if you do disagree, leave me a comment about that. I'm always happy to discuss it. And if this essay resonated with you, you might like my last video. Doing nothing may save you. Because once you realize the search for certainty is absurd, you see that maybe constant striving isn't the answer either. Maybe rest is a kind of wisdom, a way of standing still with the absurd, instead of running from it. And for now, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a like and a subscription if you would like to motivate me to make more videos like this. Have a great day, great week. Goodbye.